Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. Warning, this podcast contains spoilers.
Let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
Yet God protect them.
Gods of the universe. I come here to raise an army. Today, we'll go down in history.
How exciting.
Today, we'll fight!
I'm gonna kill this guy.
It's probably like a true Thor.
This ends here and now!
I'm counting on that.
Marvel Studios' Thor Love and Thunder in theaters July.
Hello. This is Adolph, and I have with me Classic Jake.
Howdy, folks.
And Jacob.
Hello.
And today we're doing the Spoilercast for Thor Love and Thunder. So, we're just going to go do a quick round robin on what our thoughts on the movie is before we get into the spoiler section. Classic Jake, I guess you could do a quick overview of your thoughts on the movie, since you did review it. Do you still feel good about that review?
Yeah, I still like that movie. I chuckled. I thought it was good-natured fun. I stand by my grade. I know it's not popular. Boy, have I been hearing about it from people, but hey, it is what it is.
And just for sake of brevity, you gave it an 8 out of 10 for the movie, and you gave it a great 3D.
Yep.
Okay, Jacob, what are your thoughts on Thor Love and Thunder?
Boy, is he overrating that film by at least 2 points. It is not great.
Okay, what didn't you like about it?
I mean, it's the same thing I had with Ragnarok. It was just too jokey. They turned Thor into an idiot. They throw logic out the window. It's just all for the sake of laughs and too little use of the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just a mess of a movie. A huge mess.
Alright, what do you give the 3D?
Not great. It was good. It could have been better.
Okay. So what is your score then for the 3D and the movie?
6 on both. Well, okay, the 3D I'll give a 7. So, pretty good 3D.
And you watched it in regular 3D?
Yes.
Okay. I'm the only one that have the pleasure of watching it in IMAX 3D, which is a rare treat.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually at a good time on a Saturday, and it was like, yes, I want to see it in IMAX 3D. And I got the perfect seats for IMAX. I don't know how, there's just some guy that had the first row, and it's like, how the hell do you watch a movie in the first row of IMAX 3D when you're that close to the screen?
I mean, just any movie that close to the screen is asinine.
And our theater was pretty full, but not capacity. He could have gone up and gone to the middle and been okay. He didn't have to string his act. But, okay, anyway, I just wanted to point that out because I thought that was crazy. I mean, most places will actually section it off and say, if it's a 3D, no, you can't have the first 2 rows, period. And it's fine. So, I actually agree with Classic Jake. I actually really like this movie. And
Ew.
Now, the 3D, being IMAX 3D, I really enjoyed it, but I think it could have been better, which is like disappointing because I feel like I was happy, very happy and satisfied. I paid the IMAX 3D money for this, but I felt like it could have been deeper. It could have had more pop out. So overall,
a lot of darkness.
It's not for IMAX. It was not dark. It was very pretty and nice.
Well, I meant just like it was just visually. There's a lot of scenes that took place in the dark, and it just affected the depth and stuff. Without
going into too much spoilers yet,
right?
You do see these in the trailer, so I'm gonna. That's how I justify it. There's a black and white scenes, and I feel like that's really good. but some of the particles should be popping out in that scene better and have multiple layers of particle effects and stuff. But they're just kind of there in the background. I was like, killing me. It could have been way better, but it's just pretty good. And then, like, there's a scene with Zeus and his lightning bolt. That should have really popped out of the screen everywhere, and it kind of just like a weird angle. It's like, damn it, why did? So I'll give it good 3D, on the verge of great. It's right on that edge. It's like a 7.8, 7.5 in that 7 something. Not quite great, but just on that. I was very happy with it. I saw it in IMAX, and it was beautiful to see in IMAX and fill the whole screen up. And I definitely like going to IMAX 3D. So IMAX, if you're listening, please give us more IMAX 3D options. I would definitely pay that money for IMAX, All right, now we get to the spoilers. All right, so this movie starts off on Gore's planet. I don't know what planet that is. Do y'all know?
No.
And there's a shadow, and like you see that Gore and his daughter are like in the middle of some desert, and Gore is like played by the great, fantastic. I absolutely love him. Batman. Damn it. Can't remember his name.
Christian Bale?
Yes, Christian Bale. And he's praying to the gods for water, and the daughter dies, and you see it all there, and it's kind of just a tragic way of starting things, and eventually you do see that the Gore does keep going, and then he gets to an oasis, and there's a god there, and the god is... We don't know who... do we know the character's name of this god, or no?
I don't.
Nope.
And he's kind of just, like, mocking him, and just like, oh, you're so stupid, why'd you, whatever. And, he's actually... Gore is being respectful and honoring him, and God is not caring one bit, and the Necrosword calls for him, and then he kills him. And I like the little... flower things. I don't know. Sprites? What kind of... I don't know what those are called. Little creatures that were in the forest there.
Yeah. That was pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
So, after this, then we head back to Earth, right? Or is it missing? No, we go back to with Thor and the Guardians. And what happens in this scene? Classic Jake.
Basically, we get hijinks. They're on if I'm remembering things in order, they're kind of on a mission helping out this helping clean. There's a temple, and they're trying to get somebody out of it.
Yeah, there's like a group of aliens, and then there's another group of aliens, and the group of aliens are like wolf kind of creatures with motorcycles kind of thing, are trying to, and then eventually the Guardians need their help, so they call Thor, and then Thor owns it, completely devastates everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Thor is kind of in he's kind of like in a Zen mode. He meditates and stuff, and they just call him, and he just comes in, does cleanup, and then just leaves and goes back and meditates.
And then he destroys the temple or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Accidentally, but still destroys it.
Which is one of the big complaints, because he knows he could be destructive, and he just has reckless abandon. And he the first sign that, oh my god, they just turn him into an even bigger idiot.
I will argue that he's always been an idiot.
I disagree, especially with the first two Thor movies, where he was arrogant and cocky, but that he kind of learned to calm his ways. And yeah, he's sort of a brute, but he was never almost mentally challenged. But
I didn't see it as so much mentally challenged as he just no longer cared. He was almost indifferent, like a god. would be.
Yeah.
Which is entirely antithetical to what happened with the first Thor movie.
That's why they took away his powers.
You also have his father's dead, his mother's dead, his brother's dead.
No, I mean, he thinks his brother's dead.
Yeah. Well, his brother is dead. The brother that exists is from another timeline.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But technically is his brother because, I mean, it's strange. It's time travel.
Right.
But even in my review, I said the biggest, if you can accept him acting dumb, you know, it goes a long ways to, you know, movies got a movie.
That's the thing with Taika Waititi. He's just dumbed the character so much that it's just, I can't enjoy it.
See, and I prefer the Taika movies than the other Thor movies by long, huge distance difference. I'd rather watch Thor Ragnarok 5 times over the first Thor or the second Thor.
But the thing is, with the comedy, he is just killing any dramatic heft, which in this movie he doesn't, but it's still there, like too much comedy.
So they reward him with some goats, the aliens that he was protecting, which I guess they're kind of like some generic kind of purple or
That's a passive aggressive gift.
yeah, and
this was a FU gift. They wanted to get rid of those noisy goats.
Yeah, those goats were kind of annoying, and it's like, okay, I get it, and it's okay. No, they're really annoying. I get the joke that they're referring to this YouTube clip from like 12 years ago of a goat that screams. Sounds like a human. Got it. I get that reference, but geez Louise, did they have to do that all day? They could have just done that joke once and then have the other goat jokes, and those goats got really annoying. So yeah, that was something that really took me down. But I'm still with Classic Jake. I still give this an 8. So
man,
but I still feel
I want you to come to the dark side.
It's fine. You can have your opinion. I respect it.
Yeah, we respect your opinion. I just wish more people respected mine.
It just seems like you're not getting it, but I mean I think that's fine.
Okay, so
I'm coming at it. I've been telling people. I said, look, you're looking at this from the comic books, and you're like going, because I've noticed most people's complaints about this movie is they're not acting like they do in the comics, and I'm like saying I'm coming at this from a film buff's point of view. I mean, yeah, I've read the comics, but I'm a film buff first and a comic geek second, third, you know? I mean, it's not my bailiwick. It's not my primary interest. And it just struck me, because I still stand by my thing. This reminds me of an old Ealing comedy. And it's very, this movie's very British in the strangest way.
Which is ironic because he is from New Zealand, Taika Waititi.
A colony.
Yeah.
Well, former colony. But his sense of humor has always had that kind of and he's not the only filmmaker from a former colony who has that sensibility. It's just been a long time since I've seen it in a movie.
It's just, it doesn't really work for a comic book movie, I feel. Because, like, I mean, the MCU is, like, supposed to be kind of sort of rooted in, like, reality, and this just takes me out of it.
All right, let's keep going with what happens in the movie. So, in the movie, he's with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're like, oh, they're getting all of these calls, distress signals from that are different people are dying, and they're like, oh, we got to help them. And when Thor recognizes that one of the gods gets killed off, and then I forget how he connects with Earth. I think that he goes back to New Asgard, right? Or not yet?
Yes. He goes back to New Asgard.
And this is when Jane Foster, we see her getting therapy for chemo, and in bad shape, and there's like someone that's reading her book, and she's like talking to them, and we have Darcy, and she doesn't mention anything that happened in Westview, but okay.
Of course not. Phase 4 is going to be a continuing mess because of the pandemic. So just
I can't blame the pandemic. It's just Marvel doesn't know what to do.
I mean, I half the stuff with the Guardians, between the mandate I had making this movie under 2 hours, and then just all the stuff with the pandemic, I'm surprised anything coming out of Phase 4 is watchable.
So, she's getting treatment, and Jane Foster is like, wants to keep working, and Darcy is like, you got to like listen, and your body gives you, when Mother Nature tells you you're dying, like, listen to it and try to enjoy the rest of your life that you can. And so she's trying to like research, and then she gets like called to Mjolnir, or the hammer. She like sees some books. Some books on Norse mythology or something, and so she goes back to New Asgard, and then she has a feeling to go to the hammer. And I was kind of upset that they didn't show her become Thor.
Yes.
That was something that I didn't like at all. I was like, come on.
Yeah. There were several things I wish they had done, and it was probably done, but it was cut for time.
I wish one thing that they would have cut.
This movie.
I'll
be the first person. This movie needed to have more time to breathe.
Yes. And they needed to remove that stupid comedic play scene where they retold Ragnarok. That's just so stupid. Didn't need to be there.
Well, that's just continuing the thing that was in Ragnarok with again.
Yes.
But
this time with more Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, and it was fun. I liked it. I thought it was ridiculous.
It was funny, and I chuckled.
And Infinity Cones, the ice cream place. Poor taste. Poor taste, Waititi.
Of course it's poor taste. This is they've turned this into a tourist trap.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, like,
I mean, there's a lot of poor taste in a lot of different tourist traps.
There is.
And there's a lot of profiteering when it comes to stuff.
I was having flashbacks from when I got shamed into going on a cruise with my grandmother.
Oh.
To Alaska, and oh god. Oh god.
All right, we'll have to keep that story for the patrons.
There's not a big story there. It's just it looked pretty much like this, just that same crap.
All right,
it's tasteless. And
so we're gonna have to have for the patrons a tease, for everyone else a tease that you have a story about a cruise with your grandma, and then the story when you met Biden. That's gonna be for the patrons, and everyone else we're gonna have to have just a tease. So it is what it is. So, we see all these black creatures, I don't know, shadow monsters attacking the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both Thors are there, and then Mighty Thor is there, and it throws off classic Thor. And he's excited about Mjolnir, but then I was like, what? And then, you kind of see in the background things are burning down, and because they're kind of distracted, the monsters are able to capture the children. And Gore tries to fight classic Thor, but escapes. And it was kind of interesting, because you would think that Gore is going to be able to take care of this right away, but he decides not to, and decides, all right, I need to have these kids, and I need to use them to help get people to get me to the center of the universe, which is kind of a random ass thing.
Yeah.
Because that's where infinity is, and infinity grants wishes. It's like, okay. I mean,
the first person who meets eternity can ask for a wish.
yeah. But it's I love, and I also hate. I love that they're willing to do these out there crazy ideas that's in Marvel that you never think they would do in 120 years ago. They're like, they'll never do that. And now they're doing it, but then it's still weird. It's still weird to have that.
We've been waiting for eternity since Guardians 2 to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I was a bit disappointed, but then again, that's why this movie's not a 10. 10 is an A, 9 is a B, 8 is a C.
That's a bit of a steep grading curve there.
That's the way I've always graded.
So, like, anything 6 and below is like an F.
Yeah.
That's you need to reevaluate your grading system, bud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, like, 6 is barely passable.
Yeah.
Well,
7 is very
that's the way I
good.
was graded in school.
Okay. 7 is very good. 8 is great. 9 is fantastic with a but. And 10 is a masterpiece. And, so, yeah, that's the way it kind of is, the way I see it. So.
Okay. So, we'll hash out a new grading system.
Well, kind of talking about the grading system, we have updated our rating system page on the website to mention that our ratings are based on our individual experiences and are subjective. So, if Classic Jake loves this movie and you don't, well, guess what? That's Classic Jake's opinion, and that's fine.
Well, I liked it. I guess people were. I was using numbers like alphabet A, B, C, D. That's how I've always graded.
Okay. Well, we're not going to redo every single
Okay,
review.
so I always thought it was weird. Everybody thought I was grading stuff so high.
Well, we're not going to think about all the reviews you've done and think if all of them are too high. I'll leave it at that, and we can move on.
Okay.
So they're kind of confused about what's going on, and then we get like a flashback where we actually see the relationship between Thor and Dr. Foster, and I actually really love that scene. I think it's really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And you understand why they drifted apart. This is a scene that I've been wanting for years because, in the comics they've always had a good chemistry. In the movies, I never felt they had chemistry until this movie. This movie, I completely agree they worked well together, and it works. For other movies, but this one worked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like what I was kind of confused by is like whenever you see her on screen for the first time as She-Thor, is Mighty Thor, I guess her character is. They made it seem like she had been doing it for a while, even though she had literally just transformed. So I was highly confused about that.
I'll give you that. I was definitely confused with that because people apparently know her, and she knows how to use her powers, which I love that the hammer now can become a projectile and shoot like 20 pieces. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, she was doing things with Mildor that Thor never even thought of.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the hammer was broken by Hela in Ragnarok, so I guess that's why I was able to fall apart but then recombine.
Yeah.
And I love how they it's a cute explanation, but they explain that Thor gave an enchantment to the hammer. I'm just going to say the hammer because I cannot pronounce Mew Mew. Anyway, so he enchanted it. I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident. I think it was kind of, a little bit on purpose, but not like he didn't intend it to be the power like he gave it. So that way it protected her. And that is something that he has the power to do because I guess Odin can do that, and he can do that too. We just haven't seen him do that until this movie.
All right.
Which I'm fine with. I mean, I assume maybe his dad taught him how to do that. You know? I assume maybe he's not as good as his dad was, because that was like a main thing that Odin did, but whatever. And we have, like, the whole city is there, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they captured all the kids, and they're trying to make a plan with Valkyrie, and then the actors are like, oh, let's do a reenactment to help people. And I was like, okay, that part could have been cut out, because that was too much. That was a bit too much. And then Thor is like, oh, Heimdall's son is trying to contact me. He has the same kind of vision eye thing. I forget what that term is called, that he has that power.
He has the gift.
The shining, yeah.
Yeah. Axel, or, well, he wants to be called Axel, but I forgot, what is it, Aloysius? I forgot his character's name.
So, yeah, that's how they figure out where they are, and Thor is like, okay, we gotta get him to there, so we need to get our boats, and they have these flying boats already, so now they're going to take the boat, put the goats in front of it, and then they're going to use the axe. Stormbreaker to channel the Bifrost to then travel around. No, wait. Before that, they go to the gods.
Mm.
And New Jake, what happens with the gods scene?
A very bad accent.
I like
and
it.
The gods, and the gods are super cocky, and they think that he's not going to get here. And to be fair, he doesn't.
So they go to an omnipotent city, and they get a costume from some gods of color, which is like, okay, who are they? I'm curious. And you have a scene with Zeus, and he has this like thunderbolt, and like he does this like fireworks or whatever. Not fireworks, but he has it like zooming around, and like I really think that should have popped out more. I don't know about y'all.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely.
My presentation, it popped out pretty good.
I mean, it was there, but it just wasn't like, it could have been way better, but it was still fine.
Yeah, it was there. It was good, but it could have been awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're trying to talk, and like Valkyrie is just like, let's just go over there and get his thing. They need the weapon, which is the Thunderbolt, and just get it and screw this guy. And then Thor is actually trying to talk to them and be like, hey, let's give them the chance to do their thing. And you get to see a bunch of different gods, which is interesting.
The bow one was super cute. That's my favorite.
Oh, I loved Korg's god. He was sitting on a throne of scissors.
And there's quite a few different ancient human religion gods there too. So I think that's really interesting. I don't think there's any gods that of like current religions though, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I didn't see a Shiva or anything like that.
Yeah, I imagine that they did not want to do that.
Because and definitely there was no Muhammad.
No Muhammad, no Jesus, no Buddha.
No Buddha.
But apparently there was a sign somewhere that says Carpenter God that way or something. So I didn't catch it. I heard about it though.
Which makes no sense because Jesus isn't a god, but regardless, it was still funny.
I mean, depending on your viewpoint on your religion, Jesus is kind of a weird figure. Both God
theology
and
is
depending it even depends which kind of Christian sect you are in.
Well, Muhammad's a prophet, so
yeah. Anyway, it was fun to see all these different kinds of super creatures or super things, and then I really love to hate Russell Crowe in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, he stepped right out of House of Gucci. That's why I loved it so much.
But he was a little bit more subtle.
He didn't do anything to make his character the least bit likable. He was one of the most repulsive things I've ever seen on screen.
I bet I could.
It was awesome. He was such a jerk. He was so bad. He was just so corrupt. I couldn't decide if it was more Donald Trump or more Boris Johnson.
I don't know. I don't know about either one of those, but I just have these kind of cliches of Middle Eastern guys, or not Middle Eastern, but Mediterranean guys that are just kind of there to hustle you. It's kind of that kind of feeling to me. I thought his accent worked, but my wife didn't like it, and Jacob, you didn't like it.
No.
Oh, only reason I liked it is because it was just so terrible and so repulsive, and so it just fit that character. It's such a letdown because they're there to get help, and this guy just proves Gore, the God Butcher's case. He's making his case for him.
Yes.
I was surprised that Gore didn't.
And Thor's the only one who cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was seriously thinking that Gore was going to be there and kill them all.
They should have. That would have been an interesting scene where he finally breached a omnipotent city, and there could have been chaos, and it would have been a fun action scene, but you just get to see Thor's butt.
Which, is that Thor? Is that Hemsworth's actual butt, or is it a stunt actor?
I have no idea. But
I have no idea, but I have a feeling it's probably his butt.
Yeah.
Because I think he definitely worked out to get to Thor's strength, and he definitely puts a lot of effort in for that. So, that's that whole fight scene where basically he does ask, Zeus is like, "Oh, if you're gonna talk, come over here and talk," and then they're like, "Okay," and then it's like, Gore is out there killing all these different. We need your help. We need an army of gods, and they're like, whatever, and. He strips Thor naked, and you have some back tattoos, and Gore. We don't see any frontal nudity, but we see almost every other nudity there, and he looks damn good.
Yeah, well, this movie is PG-13.
Yeah, it's fine. I was fine with them oogling him. I think that's fine. He's a good-looking, handsome guy. And if it was a woman, I'd be okay with that too. I'm okay with that. But I guess I'm a perv, and whatever. So then they steal the lightning and then kill all the different guards there, and they all turn into gold, or they have gold blood in them, which I thought was cool.
Nice touch.
It's a great way to make this violent and still keep it PG-13. You just have gold blood instead of red blood.
But there's a not really a continuity, but a thing. I've seen Thor bleed actual blood, so is he not a full-on god? Because he's a god of thunder? What's up with that?
Probably not really a god.
So that's actually a really, really good question, because Marvel Studios has been playing with this idea of what a quote-unquote god is. And then the first Thor, they specifically say, we are not gods. We live, we breathe, we die, and they're stronger and their technology is superior, but it's not magic. And now they're like, well, we are gods. So what the real thing is I guess these are super powerful beings, and then people do worship them, and they decide to go ahead and help the people if they so desire, and they think they're gods. But maybe they're not gods, actual gods, but they're, super powerful beings. Superman is a super powerful being, could be considered a god, but he can, in theory, die, and he's not 100% a holy thing. So I think of it like that. They're like Supermans.
Yeah. The term God gets thrown around a lot by a lot of people. And this movie kind of shows that.
But I looked it up. That is Chris Hemsworth's actual butt in the movie.
And his brother was the person playing him in the play.
Yeah.
And his son was the young Thor running through the woods, and his actual daughter was Gore's daughter in the film.
Love.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. That's awesome for them.
Yeah, and Chris Hemsworth was really throwing around his executive producer credit.
Yeah.
I get the young Thor, but then having his daughter, like, nepotism at its worst and or finest.
I could kind of cut it slack because those are characters that make sense. At least not in a 100% way, but like they are there, and the daughter is a certain age that they want the character to be, and the son is a certain age the kid wants to be. So they make it work, and they're not like speaking roles really, and I think it's fine.
Well, Hitchcock used to cast his daughter all the time in his movies.
I mean, he casted it himself in his movies.
Yeah. He put cameos. I mean, it's not unheard of.
No.
People do it.
But, like, his daughter is, like, the main plot point of why Gore was doing the main thing, so...
Yeah. Well, it explains kind of why he was all revved up and wanting to do this movie so bad. He got to work with his family.
Yeah, and even his wife was in the movie, in the God Omnipotent City scene, so... I think she was one of the maidens with Zeus, so...
Yeah.
It's a whole family affair.
Maybe she was Aphrodite.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been.
I mean, we don't really know. We don't have those names, but Aphrodite is definitely considered one of the because they kind of resemble the Roman gods, and Zeus is known to be with Aphrodite, right? Or is that different god?
Zeus is the Greek name. Well, Greek
He's
and
been with
Roman
many
gods
women.
overlap.
Yeah.
They're not exactly the same, but they're close enough, and they tend to kind of merge the two mythologies together, Greek and Roman. And Zeus uses the Greek name, because Zeus is the Greek name. Jove or Jupiter is the Roman.
Or it might be Venus. I don't know. It gets all wishy-washy.
Yeah, Aphrodite's the Greek one. Venus is the Roman. And that depends on which frame of reference. Because at one time, Venus was a male fertility god.
Yeah, and then the whole thing with fertility and gods and Zeus gets really quite disgusting. So we'll just move on from that.
Yeah, we're not discussing Bullfinch's mythology here. We're talking Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah, but yeah, so I was kind of amazed whenever I was in high school, and they kind of talked about that. And it's like, Zeus is a super perv, and he's messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, the movie Hercules got that character wrong.
He was too kind. Too kind. Yeah. So, okay.
And he wasn't really a family man.
No. I mean, he liked making families, but not really taking care of them.
Also, Thor's wife, or Chris Hemsworth's wife, was the wolf woman in the movie. So,
okay,
kind of interesting.
I appreciated how they were able to present them, and I kind of appreciate the Greek and Roman gods are very much like real people and how horrible they are.
Right.
I can respect
selfish and stuff. Yeah, I get it.
I respect that to a degree. I mean, I don't want that to be my god, but you know what I mean. I understand why they like to do that as their narratives. Anyway, so Thor that had that fight with all the guards, and they have gold blood, and the gold blood, I think it's awesome as a symbolism that they're so up there and that they have gold in their blood.
Yeah.
I think
they are nobility.
Yeah, they're so noble. They have literally gold as their blood. Liquid gold. And I thought that could have been more 3D wise. Like the blood could have been splattered out and popping out and stuff more. It
looked very similar to when Odin died. The sparkly kind of life essence leaving him.
Yeah.
So they leave, and we see them fly by two Eternals, which I thought was badass.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Eternals, I guess they're just so shocked they don't care, but like they could have stopped them.
Yeah.
I think though they have names, but I just knew. Oh yeah, that's like the Eternals things. The gods that are birthed into the planets. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, I can't remember the names.
Those gods were just robots.
I mean, and I even like the Eternals comics. I just can't remember those names. They're just so not words I use.
So they go ahead and now they're trying to go to the center of the universe because that's what they figured out is where they're being held because Gore wants to use the Bifrost to break open to go into there, and by having the kids, it lures the Thors there, and that way they could be there. And that's when Mighty Thor confesses to our Thor, classic Thor, that she has cancer and she's in bad shape.
Yeah. Stage 4.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the last stage.
Yeah.
And, my mom had cancer and she survived, but cancer is a brutal, horrible disease to fight through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Chemo's rough and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really tears you apart, and it is hard. It's hard for the individual, and it's hard for people taking care of them, and it is brutal. It really, like, the radiation is just horrible to
And I
live through.
really thought this movie did a pretty good job of that balance of this dark storyline, because that's why I think Taika was having all this comedy, like with Ragnarok. It's to balance out a lot of the nastiness and horror.
Yeah. But, I mean, Taika Waititi essentially remade Iron Man 2 at this point, though.
Yeah.
So, they get there, and they fight Gore, and Gore actually does pretty damn good against all of them, and stabs Valkyrie. Yep. We forgot to mention that Korg is almost killed in the fight, except for his head.
Yeah.
Which his face. His face. I thought that was funny. I like that.
Yeah.
The theater I went to gasped.
I was thinking he was dead. I really thought he was dead.
Yeah.
I kind of wish he did. He's kind of annoying. Especially going, Korg. What's up, bro? All the time.
I like Korg, so it doesn't bother me any. Yeah. But, I was surprised, and I actually kind of like that they... I don't know if it's really in Marvel canon or what, but how they explain how those creatures have babies is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Like, another mill, it's, they go to a lava, and then they birth a baby in the lava. I was like, what?
Yeah, they hold hands for a month, and they have their hands stuck in lava. I mean, dang. No wonder there's not a whole lot of them.
It seems like a
commitment.
Yeah. It's really interesting, though. It's like, that's one interesting way to make rock monsters have babies.
Yeah, so I wonder if a similar process happened when Korg got reconstituted.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the little things that this movie needed more time to breathe. Because there were lots of little details like that would have been nice to flesh out.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this little moon that they were fighting on, and I love that they explained that this area is so evil that that color is drained out, and it was all black and white, but then like certain parts are colorful. Oh, I love that scene. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And wonderful to see that in IMAX. I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah. It's nice to see 3D in black and white.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And they have a fight there, and they are able to... Gore is able to capture them and hurt Valkyrie, and Mighty Thor is also really badly hurt. So they have to zap back, and Valkyrie has to get healed up. Which I'm kind of surprised that she wasn't like, I want to go ahead and keep going. I don't care. I'll die. You know.
Right. But how does Gore carry the Stormbreaker? Because that thing was made from a neutron star.
Well,
Stormbreaker's not enchanted like Milnor was, and he's a pretty powerful being on his own. And also, remember the handle is made from Groot. So
right, but still, the material is made from a neutron star. That thing is going to be heavy as hell.
Yeah, but he's strong.
Because the Necro Sword made him strong.
Yeah.
And I like the tentacles were like grabbing them. I wish that they were able to. It did look a little bit like Venom, but I wish it looked more like Venom because.
Well, the character the Necro Sword is controlled by the first symbiote, but I imagine that didn't come into play in this movie because
Sony.
They're playing nice with Sony, and they did. And this was probably something. Like I said, this movie needed probably 20, 30 more minutes to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been another nice little touch to add to it.
Yes.
Yeah, having a scene with Mighty Thor gaining her powers and understanding it, having this scene there. There's definitely some scenes here and there. I think the director has said that there has been deleted scenes, and they had deleted scene with the Grand Master, and they had another deleted scene with I forget who else he said, and but yeah, they're like, yeah, and I'm not going to include them on the DVD or Blu-ray. They're deleted for a reason, and it's like, no, come on.
And he also doesn't, and people have been asking him for a director's cut, and he's like, director's cuts are stupid, so there's not going to be a director's cut, which is in itself stupid to say that.
Yeah, I agree, because sometimes the director's cuts are awesome. And
the Zack Snyder cut.
Cash grabs like the Lethal Weapon director's cuts.
Yeah.
Because those were pretty useless, but...
Yeah.
But the Donner Superman is a much better movie.
I agree, yeah. Much better. Yeah. So... Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like the director's cut of that.
So, they return back, and Mighty Thor turns back to Jane Foster, and she's in bad shape. They really worked on the makeup really well. I love the makeup with Jane Foster, and that when she was in bad shape in the hospital, she legitimately looked like someone that was, phase 4 of cancer. And when she was Mighty Thor, she looked absolutely gorgeously stunning. So
I just want to know, did they actually film her before she got jacked up on, with gym, muscles and stuff? Or was that, doing the same thing they did in Captain America, the First Avenger, where they just had a body double? Because she got ripped in this movie.
I honestly don't know.
I think maybe it's a mix. I mean, you could do, the makeup that she probably wore to look really sickly is not that hard to do compared to other makeup in movies,
Right. But, they would have had to do something with her arms, because her arms and body were noticeably bigger when she was Mighty Thor.
I think they try to put her, in looser outfits, and they maybe digitally decreased it too, but I don't know for sure. That should be in the Blu-ray and DVD to see how they did that.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So then, regular Thor goes back and is like, okay, Valkyrie has to stay here because she's getting healed up. And then, I forgot to mention that we finally got Lady Sif back.
Barely.
Yeah.
And she was, I think she had a higher place in the rating, or in the credits, than some other people who had a more presence, which makes no sense.
I'm just glad to see her back. I wonder what they're going to do with her, but, if they did want to kill her off, this would have been a cool movie to have her die in,
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been cool, having her fight with Thor, and she died too, and, that would have been. I think that would have been a cool way to kill her character.
Yeah, they might have decided there was enough death and destruction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or who knows? Maybe they want to bring her back for a Disney Plus show.
That's too much content.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to be getting lots of, since it seems to be, Marvel seems to be the only company. That and Tom Cruise seem to be all that's making money these days, is Marvel and Tom Cruise.
They're gonna milk the MCU dry, and it's.
Of course.
I'm already done almost with comic book movies in general, but damn.
Yeah, they're gonna run this into the ground like the westerns.
Yeah.
We're 50s because it just capitalism.
And I don't mind for now, because I still, even the worst movie, which might be Eternals, I still liked it. I didn't hate it. So I'm fine with it for now if they change it up and be different. And I think they're doing enough to make it different, enough to keep it spicy and interesting. And I don't know how things are going to come together, but I'm still with them 100%. So I'm fine. But the TV shows are kind of weird. I like them, though. But they're still weird, and they don't necessarily fit, but they do fit. I don't know. So they go back. So Thor goes back to this planet and fights Gore, and then Gore makes it into the center of the universe, and then the kids are there, and then they're like, "All right, kids, you guys need to help Thor fight." And we're like, "We're no fighters, Thor. We don't have any weapons." And it's like, "Get anything that you have here." And there's like skeletons, I guess, of people that tried to get this beforehand, get to the center of the universe, but they couldn't. And then he blessed them with the power of Thor. And all of those kids had the power of Thor. And I was giddy. I love that scene so much.
That would have been nice to have during Infinity War and Endgame and all the other Thor movies.
True, but having it here made it special and nice that he was able to do that for the kids. The kids are not just there to be hostages. They're able to help fight the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I guess if Thor enhances thousands of people, maybe his power gets decreased every time he enhances it. So if he enhances 20 kids, well, his power is only slightly lower. But if he empowers 2,000 people, well, that's a lot. He's gone. He doesn't have any power left.
Yeah, that would have been nice to, because I mean, maybe this is something he just figured out how to do.
Yeah, we never.
But
seen him.
Or maybe.
But like, how does he find the gift?
Or never thought of it. That would have been another nice thing to flesh out.
I think it's just bad screenwriting.
Yeah, they could have had a scene where it's like, I don't know what to do, and then he thinks. And then you don't have to have the video, but you can have the voice, and him remembering him as a kid, and then having you show Dad, how to do that, and then that way he remembers that, and it's like, oh,
yeah, it would have been a good Anthony Hopkins cameo.
Yeah, I know Anthony Hopkins thinks he's above this, but still, he's actually really good as Odin.
Yeah,
and they all have a fight, and it looks like Thor is gonna lose or is doing a bad job, and then Mighty Thor comes, and she knows that by doing this she's gonna die, but it's okay because she's saving the kids and she wants to go out in style, and I respect that. She wants to not be sickly and die a horrible, sad, painful death in the hospital. She wants to have a good memory before she dies and have a good be awesome before that. And they have an awesome fight scene against Gore, and Gore still manages to keep on going, and even though they break the sword, and I was like, yeah, he keeps going, you gotta stop him, you can't just break the sword, that's not good enough, and he makes it to the center of the universe.
Yeah, he basically wins.
And instead of wishing for all the gods to be gone, he wishes for his daughter to come back to life.
Yeah, Thor reasons with him. Because what else is he going to do? He just reasons with her, with Thor. Because he's like, Jane's dying, he's choosing love, and tells him he should choose love.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really sweet moment, and I love Christian Bale. Christian Bale is so damn good as Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah, he really sells this change of mind.
I mean, he's an incredible actor overall, but damn, he brought it. He brought it here, and I love him for this.
Yeah.
And he totally looks different. I love that they did practical for him. Maybe some CG, but mostly practical because it really helps it make it more real.
I also like the way they changed him from the character from the comic book to give him a distinct look and not make him look like Voldemort.
Yeah, I agree. And Jane dies, and she turns into dust, and that scene was really touching and sweet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Gore dies, and it's like, and Thor promised Gore that he will take care of his daughter, and so then Gore and Jane die, and then the kids, Thor goes back to New Asgard, returns the kids, all the kids are happy, and Valkyrie, it's like, okay, they have a statue mating for Mighty Thor. It's kind of sad that like you didn't get another scene with the old Thor cast. I did like that they got the professor, at least in the video chat, in there, so that way they're all in all the movies. That's cool. I give them props for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even if you blink, you'll admit Daryl was even around.
Was he? Where?
He was in a scene. Just blink and you miss him. He was just kind of walking around at New Asgard.
Huh. Interesting.
So the movie wraps with Thor being with Love, which is the character's name, and Korg now found somebody and is back to being a whole rock monster guy.
Yeah.
And so Korg is no longer having these adventures, and he has a kid too, I guess. I don't know, a pebble.
And a life partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people are like, wait, is there female Korgs and male Korgs? I don't know, and I don't care.
Well, in Ragnarok, he talks about his mom.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how rock creatures, how that works, and I don't
how
really
they
care.
identify.
Yeah.
That would have been, if you're going to throw this out, explain the other, but, 2-hour runtime, I understand, but still.
I mean, I guess they, maybe translation error or something, and, I don't know. How maybe they're a mother in their spirit, but not in physical. I don't know how that works. They're aliens from a fictional thing.
They know how it works, and they're fine with it.
I don't care. Yeah. Whatever.
Movie's gonna movie, and it's fine.
So it wraps, and like you see Thor and Love like battling or with these like other aliens or something, and so I wasn't sure. Does Love, is she able to wield the hammer or no?
I don't think she needs to. I mean, she's got the power of eternity.
Yeah, she was able to have the axe, Stormbreaker, but that's how the movie wraps. And then we have the I think it was a pretty cool way to do the intro, and then to do that, the Korg say, "Oh, this is the history of Thor," and then this is people still know them and know as Thor, Love and Thunder, and that's how you get the names. And it's like that's a nice little way of doing it. I like it a lot.
So I'm assuming Thor is now going by Thunderstrike, like he did in the comics briefly.
And we have a cool little credit scene, and then we have 2 credit scenes. The first one was with Hercules,
which looks awful.
I think it was cool. But I love that actor.
Oh, but I agree, it looked awful. It was kind of like that one Thor after scene from gotta remember which movie it was, that the lighting was so awful.
Do you know what happens in it?
Yeah, they're talking to the Collector.
That's the 3rd movie, I think.
Yeah. The lighting on that is terrible.
Yeah.
And this one had similar lighting issues.
Yeah. And the CGI just looked bad.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the outfit. I guess I like that. And
it's just it's a throwaway thing. But Hercules and I hate to be rattling on about the comics, but that's the only thing we've got to go by for ideas, but we know they're going to change them. But, you know, Thor and Hercules in the comics have had some major throwdowns.
Yeah, and we have Brett Goldstein as Hercules, which he's well known for being in Ted Lasso as Roy Kent, and he is awesome in Ted Lasso. Love this character in Ted Lasso. So I definitely excited to see him in the movie. Has any of y'all seen Ted Lasso yet?
No, nobody wants to pay for Apple Plus because it's stupid.
Hey, they have a lot of quality content, and they have the most Emmys of all the streaming services. So
I mean, that don't mean much when you're still struggling and you're an Apple platform, and I don't want to support Apple.
Well, I definitely think it's better cost money than Netflix at this point to get Apple than Netflix, because I feel like Netflix is too much money for what it is. But
yeah,
we can fight about the streaming services another day. Jake, classic Jake, what was the second post-credit scene?
We are, Jane Foster is in Valhalla, and she is met by Heimdall.
Which is kind of weird, because, like, she died, and I was happy sad that she died, but, like, it's I guess she's in heaven, or that version of heaven, but in the comics, she's been able to escape heaven. I don't want her to escape heaven, though. I want them to stay there. But I don't know how that's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, she could be one and done. This might have been her swan song. I mean, which would be fair, because it's not like before this movie they really did anything with the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a fun way to do it. I mean, I would have liked it if maybe she was able to give the... I was actually wondering if they were going to kill out classic Thor and have Jane Foster replace it and move on. I was thinking that was going to be how they do it, but I'm surprised they did it this way. And I'm fine with it. I like it. So, I don't know what's really going to happen with Thor next. I guess, I don't know if they're going to have... Next time we see Love, is she going to be older? Or I don't know what her age is supposed to be. Is it like 10? I don't know.
I don't know either. And we don't even know if there's going to be a Thor 5.
Well, it's making enough money that I think they're happy with it. And I think Hemsworth is happy doing it, so...
Can't.
I'm fine. Keep at it. You can have multiple adventures. I'm fine with that.
It seems like it's taken longer and longer to get to sequels, and none of these people are getting any younger.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else you want to mention about the movie, or no?
Oh, I think we've about covered it.
All right. I guess it's going to be it for us. Bye.
Okay,
bye, everybody.
Okay, as this podcast wraps up, I want to thank my patrons. Thank you, Mr. Bengal 5, Kevin Winter, and Alex Folk, for your financial support on Patreon.com. You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.